Time to light it up.
Okay, kids, here it is. May the 4th be with you. I know you've been waiting all year for this fantastic celebration of May the 4th be with you, even though it's pretty much made up and it's only for Star Wars fans anyway, and only Star Wars fans really care about it. But May the 4th be with you. That's right, here we are, and I'm going to celebrate by doing something really stupid. So I decided to celebrate May the 4th be with you by doing a review of sorts, sort of a review, but mostly an actual trailer talk of
Thought we were in trouble there for a second, but it's fine. We're fine.
That's right, I'm going to do Solo, a Star Wars story, and since this movie premieres at the end of this month, and this is May the 4th, why not? So the thing of it is, I've been wanting to get on here and do this anyway because there's so much negativity being said about this film that I really did want to get on here and talk to you guys about this. Now, to give you a little quick history, when the first trailer of this premiered, it was actually a teaser trailer that premiered during the Super Bowl. At that time, I was having my computer meltdown, so I couldn't get on here and review it for anybody. But it was the next day after the Super Bowl that they premiered the full trailer of the film. And David actually got on here and did a video reaction to that. It was really good. It was something that we hadn't ever done, was video reactions. And he also said kind of a review of it, telling you what he thought and what he thinks of the movie. So what I'm about to do is actually give you some insight on this and as to why I'm actually really excited for this film. And it's not just because I'm a Star Wars fan. Now, for all of you out there, anyone that knows me and David personally, or even if you loyal maniacs to this channel, you know, come on here, you know that David and I are huge Star Wars fans, and we are just big Star Wars fans from 1977. And for those who know me, know that this character,
Han Solo. I'm Captain of the Millennium Falcon.
is my favorite character out of the entire Star Wars saga. The history to this review is that I actually did a review for this about a month after the trailer premiered, because that, like I said, it was during the whole computer meltdown I was having. Because I really wanted to get on here and do what I'm doing right now and talk to you guys about it, because there's been so much negative stuff being said even before the trailer even premiered. They've been bashing this film for like a year now, and I don't understand why, to be honest with you. I really don't understand why everybody's bashing it. So here's my take on the whole thing. Alright, first of all, when they announced that they were going to do spin-off films, I was actually interested in that, and I was like, great, more Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars fan. I want to see more Star Wars. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see this. People often do this to me, and I find it so odd that people would say this, because they're always like, another Star Wars? They're doing another one? Really? Do we need another one? Why do we need another Star Wars? And I find it really odd because Marvel and Disney have been producing Marvel movies like 3 and 4 of them a year. You know, even if it's not all Disney, it might just be Marvel Studios, but like there's been like 2 to 3 to 4 movies of Marvel every year, and nobody says a word. But Star Wars comes out with 1 movie a year, and they're always like, another Star Wars? Really? That right there I can't understand. If somebody could explain that to me, please, really, explain it, because I don't understand it. When they said that they were going to do spin-off films, I was like, okay, that's going to be cool. I would like to see spin-off films of, see more Star Wars, and see other stuff around the Star Wars realm. One of the first things that came about was the character films. And I don't know if it was necessarily the fans that started it or Disney that started it, but I tend to believe it was the fans. And a lot of the fans chimed in with what could Disney do as a spin-off film, and they kept throwing out these ideas of mostly different characters in the Star Wars universe. So they came up with things like Yoda, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Boba Fett, and even Jar Jar. You know, because there's always got to be some asshole that'll say Jar Jar. All of that aside, another character they came up with, of course, was Han Solo. So when they started talking about Han Solo as a movie, I was like, that could be actually really cool. I would actually really like to see that. Because out of all the characters that they were mentioning, Han Solo is the most adventurous. Han Solo is the most, I wouldn't say he's the most mysterious, but he does have some mystery about him as far as his backstory is concerned. 1977 is when this movie came out, Star Wars came out, and ever since then, I mean, people have kind of wanted to know what was Han Solo's backstory. George Lucas kind of hauled around and kind of, he was, once this and he once did that. So George Lucas has mentioned some things, but not everything. He's not told the whole story of Han Solo. The story of Han Solo is actually pretty cool to me. And being that he is my favorite character, yeah, I'm interested. I'm up for this. But first we got Rogue One as a spin-off story. Rogue One, a Star Wars story. There's people that like that movie, and then there's people that really hate that movie. And me, myself, I liked it. I enjoyed Rogue One. I thought it fell right within the Star Wars realm, and it was really good. I actually enjoyed it a lot. Now, David and I actually reviewed Rogue One, and it was, at the time, we had only seen it one time, the both of us. We'd only seen it once. So when we reviewed it, then, we said what we had to feel about it at that moment. Since then, I've watched it on Blu-ray, and I actually can say I enjoy it a lot more now. And the reason being is because now I could actually sit down and watch it on Blu-ray and actually enjoy it more, and got over all the shock and awe of it and all that. And I could actually sit and enjoy the film a lot more. And not be distracted by anything or anybody in the theater, of course. So, doing that, it actually turned out even better for me. To believe it or not, I actually got more out of the story watching it a second time. Or a third time. The one thing about it was that it had so many characters. And there was just so many of them. I mean, David said they were weak characters or bland characters, boring characters. I didn't find that at all. And to this day, I still think they're great characters. I think they're strong characters. But there's so many of them that David was right about one thing. When you left the theater, you couldn't remember everybody's name. You couldn't remember what everybody did because there was so many of them. And when you left The Force Awakens, for instance, the newest film, when you left, Star Wars The Force Awakens, you knew who Rey was, you knew who Finn was, you knew who Poe Dameron was. You knew all about these characters, and that's what got you pumped up about it. Rogue One didn't do that for us. And I admit it. It didn't do that. But I didn't find them bland. I just found that there was so many of them, I couldn't remember them all. The other thing I found with Rogue One was that it was so much a fan film. It was very much a fan film. And that kind of hurt the film because it just being a fan film, the fans know what's going on. People that casually watch Star Wars or have never seen Star Wars know nothing. They don't understand it. And a lot of those people were the ones who came up and go, I didn't get it. I didn't get what was the big deal. Now, like I said, that kind of hurts the film, is that it being just a fan film. And I think it's something that's also going to kind of hurt Han Solo here. So it was almost immediately after Rogue One premiered that they decided to make Solo a Star Wars story. They didn't call it that at that point. They were just saying a Han Solo movie. They're going to make a Han Solo movie. And I was excited. I was like, yeah, I can't wait to see that. Awesome. I can't wait to see that. But almost immediately people were like, really? Han Solo? Really? And then I guess somewhere along the way they announced who was going to be the directors of the film. And for some reason, I missed this. I didn't know who was actually directing the movie. And it's probably because I try to stay away from a lot of the Star Wars news because there's so much fake news, to coin that expression here. But there is so much fake news with Star Wars. I mean, there's so many people out there who are just trolling and they just want to ruin Star Wars for you no matter what, you know? So no matter what they say, they're going to come out with something. I've got plot leaks and I've got this and the end of Last Jedi explained and all that crap, you know. I ignore all that. I ignore most of it. And maybe in doing so, I actually missed who was actually going to direct this film at first. But apparently it is the directors of the Lego Movie.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when we're part of the team.
Now, why they chose them to do a Star Wars story of any kind, I can't imagine. You know, what possessed anyone to actually choose these guys? Because I can kind of see why eventually they were fired from the project or they left or whatever they did, you know, because Kathleen Kennedy came across them and said, look, this is not working. So they all split on creative differences, as they usually call it. And I can see that, actually, because for some reason I can see these guys trying to do something different with it that just didn't mix with Star Wars at all. That didn't feel like Han Solo. That didn't feel like Star Wars. I can see those guys doing it because one thing Star Wars is really having a big issue with is directors and people who have their own visions and their own mind of what Star Wars should be and how Star Wars should evolve and the whole thing. They make up their own stuff. And a lot of times it doesn't make sense with what happens later in the stories or something like that. It doesn't congeal, and it feels like maybe it's science fiction, but it doesn't necessarily feel like Star Wars. So, and I'm not saying that all their ideas are totally bad, but then they come up with some really stupid ones too. So when they fired the Lego Movie guys, they actually went for someone I actually was really excited about, and I was actually like, yeah, that makes sense. And why didn't they do that in the first place? Why didn't they go with this guy to begin with? And that is Ron Howard. And the reason why I say this is because he's worked with George Lucas at least twice that I know of. And he starred in American Graffiti. And he also was director of Willow. You know, so why wouldn't you go with Ron Howard? It doesn't make any sense not to. I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily put him in charge of, like, Star Wars Episode 9, but to do a small Star Wars film like this, to me, it makes perfect sense. And why didn't they do that to begin with? I don't know. Maybe Ron Howard said no to begin with? Maybe because there was a lot of good directors that did say no to any Star Wars films. And actually, when they announced that he was going to be the director, I actually got even more excited about seeing this film. So why these people make such a big deal out of Ron Howard? Befuddles me as well. You know, he is a good director. He is a talented director, and I can't wait to see what he does with this. And obviously, whatever vision he had for this movie, it obviously connects with what the vision of what they intended for Star Wars anyway, or at least where this movie fits into Star Wars, I believe. So, but I mean, only time will tell. I haven't seen the movie, so we'll see if it actually really fits into the whole Star Wars thing, but I think it will. After seeing these trailers, I tend to believe it will. Now, the cast. Now here's where I think we're going to have some issues. Because obviously Harrison Ford is Han Solo. I mean, it's really hard to pick somebody else to play Han Solo when Harrison Ford is Han Solo. You know, it's really going to be hard to try to see somebody else playing that character. It's also like somebody else playing Superman. I mean, when Christopher Reeve died, of course they had to find somebody else to play the character. Even though everybody looks at Christopher Reeve and, I mean, the first thing they look at when they see Christopher Reeve is they see Superman. Sylvester Stallone has this problem too. He's always Rocky or Rambo. And all of his movies that are not Rocky and Rambo get compared to Rocky and Rambo. They picked this guy to play Han Solo. Now, even when I heard that, I was like, why? Why did they choose that guy? Out of all these people, why did they choose this guy? The guy that they have playing Lando Calrissian actually does kind of look like a young Billy D. Williams. He does resemble Billy D. So why would you not get a person to play Han Solo, though at least looks somewhat like Harrison Ford? And this, of course, is all before I ever saw a trailer or any footage or pictures of him as Han Solo. I'd never seen anything of him as Han Solo yet. The only movie I know that he's played in prior to this film was Beautiful Creatures. But apparently he was in it, and I guess he made an impression. Enough to call him Han Solo. But here's the thing about picking this guy to play Han Solo. I kind of understand what the Lego guys, because the Lego guys were the ones that picked him. I kind of understand what they were trying to do with him, or I believe that I understand what they were trying to do with him, is that they were looking for someone to play the character of Han Solo. They weren't looking for somebody to do an impression of Harrison Ford playing Han Solo. And when you look at it that way, it's like, okay, that makes a little more sense. You know, they want somebody to play Han Solo. They don't want an impression of Harrison Ford. So, I don't know. I don't know how this guy's going to work out. Hopefully, and what I've seen on the trailers so far, I actually think he might surprise everyone. I actually think he might do well in this. I haven't seen enough of him to say that, yeah, he's a hit, because I haven't seen the movie. So I can't say that yet, but there's a good chance that he might actually do this character justice. And I think he knows that. I think the actor does know that I'm taking on this iconic role, and I better bring it 125 to 50%, or else I'm going to get axed. I think he knows that. So I don't think he's going to do anything that's going to make him fail. You know, I don't think he's going to try to fail at playing Han Solo. Now, of course, I mentioned Lando Calrissian and how they picked this actor, Donald Glover, to play Lando Calrissian. And so far, from the trailers, I can say, does look like he's going to be a hit. I think he's going to make a great Lando Calrissian.
Everything you've heard about me is true.
Not only does he kind of look the part, but I think he's going to be a really good Lando Calrissian. And I think that's probably going to be the standout character in this movie. I think this movie is really going to be surprising to a lot of people. I think a lot of people who sat here and bashed this film before they even saw one frame of it are really going to go, oh, okay, maybe I was a little harsh. Now, of course, if this movie is a total dud, I'm going to be the first one to get on here and review it. With me and David are going to be on here to review it, and I'll be the first one to admit that. I really will. You know, even if it is my favorite character, I'm going to get on here and tell you guys, you know, exactly what I thought of it.
What do you think? Well, what do you know?
So, I'm going to be very honest about it. But so far, from all the trailers I've seen, it actually looks to be a great film. I think it's going to be, and I think choosing Ron Howard was one of the best choices they did, and I think it's going to be really done well. I don't think anybody's going to let this movie fail. You know, I don't think they're going to do that. I really believe that people are going to be surprised by this film. It's either going to be, wow, I didn't expect it to be that, or wow, I didn't expect it to be that. It's going to be one of those two reactions. So, but I think it's going to be a positive one, actually. I see the character of Han Solo in this as being sort of an anchor for the other characters, so that we don't have a Lando Calrissian movie. You know, you're going to get not only Han Solo's story, but you're going to get his relationship to Lando Calrissian and how Lando came into it, or where Lando came from. You're going to see, of course, Chewbacca, where Chewbacca came from. And from one of the scenes in the trailers, I think you're really going to see where Chewbacca came from. So that's the thing about this entire film. I think what they're going to do with this movie is definitely get back to the fun and the adventure of Star Wars. I think that's one thing that's really going to come back in this movie, is the adventure of Star Wars. And I really hope that's what they're looking for. I really hope that's what they're looking to do with it, is bring back the fun, the adventure, the mystery, somewhat. I mean, with Han Solo, how could you not have an adventure? Really, he's the most adventurous character. He really is. So, I'm looking forward to this. I really am. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be a real surprise for people. I think it's going to be a real surprise for me. And like I said, if it is a dumper, if it's if it turns out to be a really big bomb, I will say so. I'll be honest, and I will say so. That either I liked it or I didn't like it, and you'll get my honest opinion about it. So there. So happy May the 4th be with you day, and of course I want all of you to do exactly what I tell you guys to do all the time, that is to subscribe. Please subscribe to us. Please keep coming back and being loyal to us, and it's because of you guys being so loyal to us that we're still here, we're still functioning, we're still going. And I appreciate that so much. We really do. We love you guys, all of our maniacs out there. You're fantastic. And to you new maniacs just joining us, thanks. We adore you just as well. You have to be some kind of maniac to be here anyway, so thanks for joining us. But to all of you that still haven't joined, what is your problem? So we'll talk to you all later. Have a good May the 4th be with you, and may the Force be with you, of course.
You might want to buckle up, baby.